Look at the output on this thing. Look, if I even get in front of it, it just blinds you. Holy cow. I need sunglasses at night with this thing. Boom! Good morning, friends. Nomad Brad coming to you, very excited today. This is gonna be a fun project. So let me show you guys really quick. Just kind of give you a little visual what it looks like. So it's cool, it's an all metal housing, which is nice. Some of the cheaper ones you find have a like an ABS plastic housing. I personally prefer the metal. So really nice housing. The other cool thing is on the back, if you see this little silver piece here, that is a vent. So as the temperature changes outside and then the temperature inside the light housing changes, it will vent and regulate and you will not get condensation inside the lens. And it has a really nice, just a plug, quick connect. This is a DT style connection harness. So super plug and play. So I'm gonna install these as backup lights, and they gave me one pair, so I'll put one on each side of the bumper. They sent a wiring harness. So the hardest part of the install on these things is having to wire them up. I've done a ton of them manually, and if you're not used to it, it's kind of a brain twister to try to figure out how everything goes together. But the all-in-one harness makes it super easy. So this would go right on your battery under the hood. Built-in fuse holder. And then on the other end of the harness, we have a switch, a little rocker switch, an on-off style. This one's pretty cool. The nice thing about the circle style is you can just use a drill bit, drill a circle hole, and this guy will pop right in. However, I bought some sweet custom switches, so we're not gonna use the one they included. And then also these are the connectors here. So these are the waterproof DT style connectors. So they're super easy, just plug and play, literally like this. Boom. And then the thing I'm most excited about is this LED light bar. This thing is crazy looking. Just look at this thing. I can't even get the whole thing in the shot. There we go. It's a monster. It's probably, I think they said it was a 54 inch. It's either a 52 or a 54. But it's super cool. I'm just gonna do a little pan here so you guys can see all that. Look at that. And then look at this in the middle. Boom, like some big bug eyes. So what's going on here is these guys on the outside, these are all the flood pattern LEDs. So when this side illuminates, you know, it's gonna be a huge wide spot beam that's gonna kind of flood the whole area. But then right in the middle, these guys, these are higher intensity spot LEDs. And then they have this projection lens on them, which is similar to the projection lens on my headlights. So this should help focus that light beam directly kind of straight ahead. I'm super pumped. And now all we got to do is finish. So now we got to mount it up. Went ahead and drilled the hole. So I have the mounting bracket here. It's just your standard like kind of L bracket, and then it's got, of course, like your stainless hardware. The cool thing though that you don't see often is it has this little rubber gasket. So normally I would have to like silicone the hole to keep water out, but because of this little gasket, I should be able to peel this off, stick the gasket onto the vinyl of the box, and then when I tighten everything down, it should suck it together and make a watertight seal. Did you guys see that? Freaking precision. Like measure twice, drill once, and the brackets lined up perfect. Couldn't have went any smoother. Thank you, LED lighting gods. All right, so I went ahead and leveled the light bar out, used the tape measure and a level just to make sure it is like perfect. It's perfectly level and it's perfectly centered within the rig. I'm super happy with how it turned out. It's just awesome. So now what I have to do, that was the easy part, believe it or not, just getting it mounted, that's easy. Now the challenge is the electrical. So what I'm gonna do is, because I have to connect it to the battery, which is obviously under the hood. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna drill a hole right underneath the light bar, and I'm gonna send the wiring inside, and then I'm gonna drill a hole in the bottom of the cab over and run the wiring all the way down and then under the vehicle and then pop up inside the engine bay. Here is the situation. So this is the wiring harness that they sent me with the light bar. It's not going to be long enough because of my application. I guarantee the manufacturer didn't plan on people mounting their light bars up on a box truck like that. So I'm going to have to do a longer run. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and run the wiring basically from up inside where the light bar pigtail comes in, and I'm going to run it all the way down along the frame and then connect it up inside. I'm not going to video all that because like I'm going to be under the car all, you know, contorted, but when it's all done, I'll just run you guys through and show you what I did. Coming in with a close-up of the wiring. See the mounting bracket there, the wiring coming in. And then again, it cuts in the cab, and then it runs right along the wall down, runs along the bottom, and then it drops down here. You can see the wiring come down. And I used zip tie bases. They're meant to secure zip ties. And just did it all the way down. And then it comes up underneath and it runs up. There's all my wiring there. It runs up underneath into the battery compartment. Pretty solid. And here's the under hood wiring, pretty simple. I have the two relay harnesses just zip tied to existing wire loom down on the side of the battery. And then I just ran the power lines up. And under here, got one of them right here. And then for the other side, this is the negative connection as well. So super simple, just a negative, positive connection, and then everything else kind of gets tied up down there, and then all the wires go down to the back. So I'm moving on to the inside portion. It's time to install the switch, and so I decided instead of the switches that they come with, which are like just kind of the basic plastic rocker switches, I decided to order these off eBay, and these are really cool because they're actually made out of aluminum, so they're a nice metal finish, and it's a push button. You can hear that. So it's like a smooth flush mount switch, and then when you push it in to turn it on, push it again to turn it off, and that little outer ring actually illuminates green, which matches the colors on my dash. So I like everything in here to have kind of a factory look and to all kind of blend together. I don't want like red lights popping out at me and blue lights and a bunch of other nonsense. Up here under the dash is where the switch goes, and back here in the corner of the cab, you can see that little pile of wires down there. That is where the wires come up into the cab for the switch. And so basically those wires need to end up over there under the dash. Now I got to get the wires from the back corner up underneath. So I'm going to pull off this plastic panel, and I'm going to pull off this panel, and I'm going to pull off this panel also. So here it is. I got all the parts laid out here. I went ahead and took off this panel, took off that corner piece there, took off that underneath panel, and pulled out the whole doghouse. Look at that. You can see the engine. I can see the floor. So anyway, the cool thing about the vans is when you pull that out, like look at all that wide open access. It's going to be super easy now to go ahead and run wiring. You can see that white wire up there. That's the switch wire. It's running up under the dash. And then you can see it up there under that black loom coming across. There's two wires, one for the reverse lights, one for the light bar, coming across, and then up over here. And so these are the pigtails for the switches. I went ahead and wired them in. So I need to now go mount the backup lights. That's kind of the last piece. Mount the backup lights, then we'll slap it all together, test it again, make sure it powers on, and then we'll wait for the nighttime. Then we're gonna blast these LEDs, baby. Yeah. So it comes here, it runs all the way from the front of the cab back here and down under, and it pops up here. And so what I decided is these lights, for backup lights, I'm actually just gonna mount them right. The bumper has all these sweet little holes in it, and it's really heavy gauge steel. So like trying to drill a new hole through that would be quite a bit of effort and burn through a couple drill bits. So I'm just gonna use the hole that's already there and just use a couple washers to kind of shrink down the size of the hole. And so I'm just gonna mount one, where should I put it? Should I put it right in front of that reverse light? Maybe. And then I'll put one on each side. Boom, one over there, one over here. So basically what I'm gonna do is put a washer on top, and that reduces the size. And then the same washer will go on the bottom. And then this guy will just drop right in, boom, like that. And then I'll go ahead, just crawl underneath and bolt it in place. So the lights are all mounted in place. I went ahead and just ran the wire down through that hole. Got that one there, this one here. And we'll jump underneath really quick. I'll just show you guys what it looks like. I still need to clean up the wiring, but basically, so this is the bottom of the light, the post that mounts it. It's a single bolt. You can see right here, this bolt in the bottom of the mounting bracket. This is the bottom side of it, and so I went ahead and just used that as a grounding point. So I put a ring terminal on the ground wire from the light, and then I just grounded it right in there, so that's a great ground. I did the same thing on both sides. And then because I can ground it locally, as far as power, what I did is I ran this 12 gauge 2 conductor all the way up from the battery, up from the front of the rig, and then both of these are actually positive. Instead of a positive and a negative, they're both hot. So basically each light has a dedicated 12 gauge power line, and then it's fused, of course, up at the battery. And so this is a pretty cool way to just run one set of wire, power both lights, and then just ground it right at the source. Here are the switches installed right below the dash. So you can see up top here, I have, this is my reverse light switch. It's pretty cool when you push it, boom, lights up green, lets you know the backup lights are on, and then hit it again, turn it off. And then the lower one here, this is light bar, boom, green light lets you know it's on, hit it again, boom, it's off. Here it is, the van just chilling. Already looking good. Look at those, just those LED headlights made a huge difference, man. Look at the beam pattern on these things. Look at that. You can see where the headlight starts. Bam, all the way out. Beautiful. So that's just the headlights. Let's see what that LED bar does. My LED headlights are already bright as heck, but check this out. Bam, that light bar. Look how far that thing throws the light out. It's like, all you see is the road. Bam, now you can see the fence and the trees. Hell yeah. Guys, look how crazy this is. Light bar, flooding the streets. Backup lights, flooding the back of the streets. This thing is absolutely insane. Look at the output on this thing. Look, if I even get in front of it, it just blinds you. Holy cow. I need sunglasses at night with this thing. That is absolutely insane. Check out the backup lights. Boom, very nice.